We're with Coach Boynton and the Cowboys. Well, let's just say it. Perhaps having a renaissance here in February, but it's something we're used to. Oklahoma State with wins at home over BYU, a big win over Cincinnati, so let's just start with that. If you look at the regular season after Valentine's Day since you've been head coach, your record is 22-14. That's about 62% success. This has been a recurring theme. Why do you think your teams do so well late in the regular season? And many times beating elite competition in the process.
Well, there's probably a myriad of reasons. Obviously, all of our teams have been very different in terms of personnel. I think one of the staples of our philosophy is we really focus, no matter what's going on in the season, on still getting better until the end. And a lot of teams, and I've been around other staffs and other programs, that the pressure of the moment, the ups and downs of the season, really drive them emotionally. And it's one thing I always say, especially to our players. Emotion is a good motivator. It's a good place to start. It's a really bad place to finish. So if you don't have something foundational and principle to hold your hat on, you don't have a focus of, today we want to be better at shooting the basketball or rebounding or whatever, then you get caught up in changing everything you do every game based off the result. And I think just being able to stick to something over and over again and preaching the same message, eventually, especially with a young team, gives them confidence that you still believe in them even when things aren't going well. And they return that investment of belief by way of performing better over the course of the season.
I would guess maybe the point you're making too is the grind of conference play, especially in this league, can wear a team down mentally. If the messaging isn't consistent and it's not right, a team can really just go up and down and up and down. But for your guys, even when you've struggled, some years where you really had a hard time out of the gate in conference play, it stayed very level. That seems to be a big thing.
Yeah, we never really, we don't get on these kids. These kids every year, they try their hardest. They want to do well. We were 13 for 14 from the free throw line, 13 for 13 in the second half. Can we replicate that every game? The guys are trying. When they miss free throws, it's not because they're going up there intentionally trying to miss. So as opposed to piling on when they don't make free throws, how about coming into practice the next day, showing them on film what you see, and trying to help them improve it? And then again, if you pile on, it becomes psychological. They don't believe they can make them. And instead, we feed them confidence constantly. We continue to tell them that we believe we're going to turn the corner. And most of the time, we end up finishing pretty strong.
If someone before the Cincinnati game would have gone on the Ken Pomeroy website, looked at all the analytics, and pulled the little page up that compares the teams, you would have quickly arrived at the conclusion that the Cincinnati matchup was a very difficult one for your team. That's what the analytics said. Yet, you go out there and you win that game, and you do it in a way that was a lot different than BYU, how you won. How significant is that not only that you beat two good teams, but really those games were quite a bit different?
Well, we've talked about this team needing offense to feel good about how they're playing. And what we found is that offense has to come in different ways from game to game. Against by BYU, we were really able to move the ball and get great shots, and we shot the ball extremely efficiently, especially from three. Well, we didn't shoot the ball as great last night, but we were still able to manufacture offense by forcing turnovers, by getting ourselves some timely offensive rebounds, a couple by Eric Daly, especially late, and by getting ourselves to the free throw line by driving the ball and forcing the issue. I thought Keon Williams was really, really good there. Jamiron Keller was really good there. And Javon Small, who's obviously our leader, was really good there. So being able to show this team that we can win different ways is something we've been striving for as a staff. And I think we're finally starting to see that they believe that we don't have to make 12 or 13 threes to win, that we can win making 7 threes.
Yeah, what has happened offensively in the last couple of games? I mean, obviously you said it was different, but what's led to this surge?
Well, I'll be honest. I think it started in the second half at Houston. And people were like, well, you got blown out. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think our guys started to figure out if we can't make threes against the type of defense that they play, we have to find a way to drive the ball and be more aggressive. So in the second half, we clawed our way back into a respective final margin by driving the ball and forcing the issue and sort of exposing Houston in that way. And I think our guys started to believe, well, if we could do that against them, then there's no reason if we don't shoot the ball well against some of the other teams who aren't as aggressive defensively that we can't still manufacture points. And you saw it against OU. We got to the free throw line quite a bit. We didn't convert at the highest level. We missed some key ones late, a couple 1-and-1s. And then in our last 2 games, we've continued to get there and really make them at a high clip. And last night was obviously the best example of that.
You mentioned OU, and that's next. It'll be the final Big 12 Conference Bedlam in Gallagher-Iba Arena. So your teams have always played well in Bedlam, but there is an interesting dynamic here in that you're playing really well right now, but you're playing Oklahoma, a team that you've always had a great approach against. But how do you make sure the blend emotionally is right? You're on a big high right now, playing against your rival in a game with huge circumstances. How do you balance that blend out to find that magic level for the guys as far as what their mind is going into the game?
The consistency. Going back to our opening conversation, the emotion needs to be something that's real. This is a big game, and for many people, this could be the last time we play them in this building. We don't know that. Yeah. There's a chance we could see them in a conference tournament. We don't know that. So knowing how much it means to our fans for us to play well against them, seeing what our football team did and how much that meant to everybody, that needs to be something in the back of our minds as we prepare. But when the game starts, we have to have a sense of calm and execution the way we did last night to close out the game, knowing that emotion won't win you the game. It can get you there in terms of being excited to play, but execution, toughness, rebounding, making your free throws and taking care of the basketball, those will be the things that give you the best chance to come out with the result you want.
Is a talking point for your team, and as you prepare going into the game, the fact that you went to Norman, you shot 30%, and you could have easily won the game? Do you bring that up?
Yes. It's something we've talked about. We talked about it coming out of the game. We were 11 for 33 on layups in that game.
Wow.
I think Javon was 1 for 9. You know, a guy who usually is pretty good at finishing in there. So, yes, we need to talk about that because that's really what impacted the game. And so we need to fix those things. We need to have the emotional intelligence to play the right way with the right kind of energy, but we need to execute better. We got to make our free throws. We got to screen. They're a really physical team. They really defend the 3 well. And so how do we negate that and give ourselves the best chance to come out with a win, a home against our rival, maybe for the last time?
Could be a really fun environment.
Yes, I'm hoping it's great. You know, our fans, I know, haven't been pleased with all the results, but seeing the team play well, a bunch of young guys that can have a chance to continue to grow, hope they come out and support these guys the best they can.
It'll be Saturday at 3, Bedlam for the Cowboys and Sooners. We'll see you next week.